Welcome back to another episode of Modular Wild. I am Raul. Today we're going to be listening to Bank 11 of the Richter Megawave. If you were with us in some of the previous segments, we've gone through, sequentially the Miniwave ROM, started at Bank 0 and then have gone up through all of those banks within this ROM. We've reached Bank 11, which is supposed to be the first 16 waveforms of the Digisound VCDO. The next one is going to be the next 16. That's Bank 12. But in this one, I thought what we'd do is have a look at some of the waveforms and then have a listen as well. Let me just explain sort of what I have going on in the patch here so that we can sort of proceed and get kind of an understanding of what's happening. So over here, let's see, I have an input going into my Megawave, and that's actually coming from a multiple, which is over off on the other side. Yep, right over here. And the main waveform is going to be coming in this yellow cable up here on the top. And this one I'm going to be plugging in here in a moment, right there. And then the multiple is actually going to be distributing this to a few places. One of them is going to be over here on the far right, next to the Megawave in the Borg. So we'll be listening to a combination of the original waveform, which is a saw wave that needs to be there to trigger the Megawave, and then a output of the Megawave right here. So the two of those things are going to be combined in the Borg. And then one of those, the output of the Megawave, is going to be going to our oscilloscope, which is off on the side that you can see is just waiting for a signal. So that's kind of what's going on over here. Let's see, this clock, you can see right here, we'll be using that in a little bit later. So let's go ahead and patch audio and see what's going on. And then also the envolator we'll be using a little bit later too. So here we go. I'm going to patch into the saw. And that should help us trigger the Megawave. So if we look over at the oscilloscope, that is going to be Bank 11, patch 0 of the VCDO bank. Now, I got it as close as I could to what you'll find in the Miniwave manual. For those of you who've been watching this series know that I've been using the Miniwave manual as a reference for these waveforms. Hopefully you're looking at that right now, so you can kind of see the general shape of the waveform. Now this is about as close as I was able to get it. I wasn't able to get it perfectly like the picture in the other one where it has a perfectly rounded M and a perfectly rounded W. On this one it's kind of a W in the bottom portion right there, but not quite rounded. And then at the top it's actually kind of an M shape up there. So that's about as close as I was able to get it. After a few different times adjusting offset and input gain and so forth. So that's going to be our starting point. And again, that's waveform 0, as you can see right here. So let's listen to waveform 1. There's waveform 1. And you can see that one's quite different, and even see it over at the scope too. Kind of shifting. Kind of cool shape right there. So now let's move one more. There's number 2. And you can see there's not too much change happening over at the scope. Let's keep going. This is going to be number 3. And you can see it's kind of getting a little more ridged over there. Let's go number 4. There we go. So there's number 4. So you can kind of see a slow progression start happening on the waveform. Let's go again. Number 5 right there. And number 6. There we go, number 6. Number 7. And you should start to see the pattern forming now. There's number 8 for you. And now number 9. 11, 12, 13, 14, and then the last one, 15. So those are going to be the first 16 waveforms of the Digisound VCDO. Now, not necessarily a lot to look at, but you can tell that there's a definite progression happening from, the last waveform that we're on right there to the very bottom waveform that we started on. And you can even hear it too, like right there was our starting one. So if you get that in your ears, kind of triangle-ish. Kind of A and B it, kind of hear there's quite a difference between the two. So I thought it'd be good to kind of hear this within the context of a patch. So that's where our friend the noise ring over on the side is going to come into play, as well as our emulator. Now the noise ring is actually sending a clock down into the Relay, which is in a different section of the modular. I'll let you take a look at that. And I do need to switch it over into, let's see, special snake mode, just because that is actually pretty fun for creating voltages. And now I should have it playing in snake mode. And I'm going to take these notes coming out of the Relay right there. If you can see those, there we go. And I'm going to go up into the oscillator up here, 1 volt per octave. There we go. And now that sound is going over into the Borg filter over here. But I also need to trigger the gate